What's going on, guys, and welcome to August episode of Game of the Month, the show where we pick a game at random every month, and at the end of the month we talk about it like a book club. My name's Seth, and joining me today, of course, is Chevy. Chevy, how you doing since we reviewed the games we reviewed for Plus Club? What were they? Star Wars, Skywalker,
Lilies.
Ender Lilies, and the other one, what was it? Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach. How you doing since then, and are you excited to finally talk about Granblue Fantasy Relink, our Game of the Month for August? And yeah, finally talking about it. Because things are delayed, because I went over it in the last episode. I had a tooth issue, had to get worked on, so that's why this episode is this delayed. But yeah, we're here talking about it now. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. A little wiped out. It's been hot the last couple days, and I work outside, as you know. Especially today, I was outside all day, so a little exhausted in that front, but mentally doing good.
It's good.
Yeah, just a little sleepy.
Yeah.
And then as far as Granblue goes, I actually played last night, so I should be pretty
Nice.
refreshed on it.
I haven't played it in a couple days, but I have played it quite a bit this month, so I have opinions on it, and I'm excited to talk about that. I'm also excited to find out what our Game of the Month for September is. Since we're filming this on the 7th, we should know what the Game of the Month is for September. We're going to find out on this episode. Also, a quick reminder, I didn't explain this very well in the last episode because I was in the midst of my problems. But October is our Game of the Month, Community Pick Game of the Month, where you guys get to pick that game. How that works is throughout this month, September, any episode, you vote once on any video from this month. And basically, all of your picks will get put on a list. So far, we have 2 picks, so throw them out there. We'll make a list, and then at the end of the month to pick October's Game of the Month will be from your guys' list. What's going to happen is we're going to eliminate names off that list, and then the third one that gets picked will be a runner-up. The second one that gets picked will be a runner-up, and then the last one will be our Game of the Month, the one we will be playing in October. So one of you will get to pick the Game of the Month. 2 of you will get runner-ups that will go on our normal Game of the Month list, in which we will play them at some point at random, but your contribution to the list will still be played at some point. So yeah, all you have to do, simple enough, is just type in a game name, and you're done. I'll put it on the list, and we'll take it from there. So put your pick in the comments down below, and it should be a fun experience again. I liked the way it happened last year, and so looking forward to it this year. Yeah, and then also Plus Club already happened. I kind of mentioned that. Make sure to go check that out. That was also delayed, but if you're wondering where that was, that happened as well. All right. Anything else I need to cover?
What are the Plus games?
Plus games for September are Little Nightmares 2, MLB The Show 24, and Quidditch Champions. So play those. I already have played one of them. So
I have them installed.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really easy month.
I got one foot in the door.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really easy month for PlayStation Plus Club this month, because they're all kind of bite-sized games. So so with that, let's find out what we're gonna be playing in September for our Game of the Month. And in case you're new here, we got a couple new people here, so I'll explain it for you. We have a bunch of back burners. We put it on a list. We have this wheel. We hit the wheel, it spins, and we will randomly pick a Game of the Month that we will play throughout the month, and at the end of the month talk about. The games on our list are Armored Core 6, World War Z, Tekken 8, DayZ, Helldivers 2, Age of Empires 4, Earth Defense Force 6, Age of Wonders 4, a lot of Age 4s, and the finals, and then lastly, Street Fighter 6, and then, once we do the community pick thing, 2 of your runner-ups will be joining this list as well. Is there any games you're hoping for, Chevy, in September, or whatever?
Honestly, I'd probably take anything, since the Plus games seem to be relatively easy. Though I would welcome a 4th easy game, so maybe I could actually get through some stuff I've been meaning to play all year. So
Fair. I've been playing through and basically have beaten Days Gone at this point, and that's been weird because that's like a game that came out in 2019, and it's kind of been nice to go back. I've been knocking out games lately in general, and I would have talked about in Tastecast by now, but we haven't had one in a while. But I knocked out Granblue. We'll talk about that. I knocked out what was the other game I beat recently? Oh, Lords of the Fallen, and then I'm about to finish Days Gone, so it's nice to just get those things fucking knocked off.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to like lean into one, I'd probably say Earth Defense Force 6, just because I've purchased it relatively recently and kind of played it. Well, we did do one sit down, but before that, it was like kind of played it once. So
Yeah.
barely touched it. I'd like to put some time into it.
Yeah. Nothing else?
Nope. Though Helldivers 2 would be a weird one, especially if it won next month, since it's on that list. So.
Yeah, true. I personally am hoping for Helldivers 2, Earth Defense Force 6, or the finals. The reason I want the finals is because the season is ending, and season 4 will be starting soonish, I think. And I would like to get everything knocked out because I took a break from the game for a while. Now they're doing like double XP and all sorts of shit towards the end of the season. So I want to just kind of finish up all the loose ends I got there. So that would be a really convenient pick for me. But yeah, all these would be easy enough, especially with the PlayStation Plus games. So
Yeah.
ready to find out?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1, and go. It is spinning, and we're gonna find out what we're playing in September. It is slowing down. Finals is definitely not getting picked, and it looks like it's gonna land on World War Z.
Okay.
Very interesting, considering Space Marine 2 is just coming out, and that's made by the same people. So, fun little tidbit there. What do you think about that?
I think we'll probably need to have a day to sit down and play it. But I mean, I still have it installed from the last time we played, and I have not finished it. So that would be convenient.
That would be convenient, and this will be really easy for me because I've played a lot of World War Z. I've talked about it a lot. I would say positively, but I don't want to reveal too much on my opinion on it. But you guys know. So, yeah, this will be a really easy month for me. So, yeah, I'm not unhappy with that. And it's nice to kind of knock that off the list finally, because that's always kind of been there because you own it. You've barely played it as much as me. It's a game I would always play easily. It's kind of a game I wanted to play with you. So, as a back burner game, it's serving its purpose. We'll play it. And maybe we should stream it. That'd be an easy game to stream with people. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So yeah, we'll be playing World War Z throughout this month. So look forward to that. All right. So the game that we played in August was Granblue Fantasy Relink. If I'm like have a time warp right now. I'm like, what month am I in right now? Because it's just been a fucking crazy week for me. If you get a chance to play Granblue Fantasy Relink, it is a action JRPG that has a campaign that has a full story I won't go into because I don't remember fully what the story was even about. I kind of went through it quickly to get to the multiplayer, but has a full campaign you can play through. I think it's like, 12, 13, 14 chapters in which you follow a big story.
I honestly don't remember how many chapters.
Yeah, it's like 14 chapters. And then anytime during that, you can do a multiplayer component of the game. It's kind of set up like Monster Hunter, surprisingly. It's like a hub. You bring people into your hub. You upgrade your weapons, gear, get resources to do that, go fight bosses, progress further and further into that. But it's kind of capped when you're doing the campaign. That's why the game kind of starts when you beat the campaign. Because after that, you can fully go into the multiplayer with your friends or randoms. And it's kind of set up like a mobile game in a weird way of like you just keep upgrading weapons and stuff until you hit a soft cap, and then you unlock a whole new difficulty and kind of do it again. But you also do unlock like new bosses, new like missions and stuff to do. We didn't complete that fully, but I think we got to very hard.
Yes. And then last night, because I don't know how I unlocked it, but I unlocked additional, like I can't remember the name for it, but like the mastery points, right? Those trees. I fourth one unlocked for me.
Okay. Yeah. And then you have skill trees, like you mentioned, that do get soft capped, and then eventually you unlock more skill tree. It features a bunch of different characters to unlock in the game via these like crew cards that you get from different missions and stuff, in which you have this big list of characters that you can pick any one as long as you have a card to buy them, and eventually you want to collect them all like Pokemon, and they all have their own skills, own strengths and weaknesses. They got their
styles.
own play styles, own stories, and it also has a system where even though these people weren't in the campaign, they all have their own little stories that you can go through that actually, as you complete each section of their story, you unlock stats and slots for those characters. So it's, if you're enjoying this character, you can actually get more from them other than they're just a character to play as. And yeah, am I missing anything else of the major beats? It's basically a campaign, single player campaign, and then a Monster Hunter style multiplayer game
With side quests.
with side quests that's a JRPG.
I think you got it, yeah.
Okay. A lot of little things out there too with it, but that's basically the gist of it. We both played it, and let's start with your impressions of Granblue Fantasy Relink in August.
Okay. I had my eye on the game for a long time, and then,
Yeah, you're actually, I think, the person who brought it up for me to actually get interested in it.
yeah.
So it wasn't on my radar.
And my history with like Granblue in general is pretty limited. I did play the gotcha game for a little bit, but I believe it is browser based only. I don't think there's an app for it unless I'm mistaken. And I wasn't super fond of playing it that way, so it didn't last very long for me. But I was always like in love with the art style of it because it kind of
has a cool art style.
Final Fantasy Tactics style art style, which I really like.
Yeah.
And then recently they've just been pumping out different types of Granblue games, and I've just wanted to try them all because I think the art style is cool, and that's a great selling point for me to at least want to try your game, apparently. So yeah, we finally both picked this game up, played it a little bit before, but didn't get very far, and then this month we were pushed to finish the damn thing.
And if you follow the channel regularly, you've seen the chronicle of me saying that I need to beat this game, because I was on like chapter 9 when I last played this game, like when I picked it up. I played through, I was really enjoying it. I got to chapter 9, I'm like, I want to get to the multiplayer part. And then I stopped playing for whatever reason. And just for months, I'd been like, I need to beat it, I need to beat it, I need to beat it. And then finally fucking did. But yeah, it was nice because we both had the chance to do that. So,
So my impressions of the game is the game has a very cool art style. If you're into anime art, obviously if you're not, it's going to be a hard sell for you.
I think it does have an anime style. It's definitely vibrant, but it has like a more subdued anime style. It's obviously not realistic looking, but like I think like the character models aren't like super exaggerated, except for like obviously the big buff guys and the super small little guys. Yeah, but other than that, like I don't think it has like a really, really strong anime style, which I think is one of the reasons why I like it. And when you brought up, you said Final Fantasy Tactics, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree. It does have a similar art style to that, which I love. So,
yeah. And then them having a different playstyle for every character is a huge bonus for me because it really allows you to kind of like find someone you like, similarly to how you find a weapon you like in Monster Hunter. This is the same idea except for it's a whole character. So
yeah, basically the characters are like, this guy's the hunting horn, this guy's the great sword. Yeah.
I unsurprisingly, once I was able to purchase my first character with a card, picked the lady with the katana because of course I did. And fortunately her playstyle is fun, so I'm happy that I was able to continue playing her. Otherwise I was kind of tempted to keep playing as Io, who is like the mage you get by default.
Oh yeah.
Though I don't know how good she is. I just was like, I'll just play the caster. So one thing I guess we didn't mention in the beginning either is this game has bot support. If you can't find people to play with, you always are in a party of 4 people, regardless if they're real players or bots. So,
which is solid because at its core, it's got a single player campaign, so it's already baked into the game to have AI support. So if they didn't have that, it would have been a huge misstep. And even for games that don't have or don't need an excuse or whatever to not have bot support, like what am I trying to say here? I'm glad it has it, but there's so many games that should have that, and this game should definitely have it, and they did it, so it's good.
Yeah, and outside of like, I can't really comment on the AI too much because they just kind of unga bunga most of the time.
Sure.
But, you can customize their skills. You pick their weapon, your party layout, everything. You level their skill trees, so like you have control over how your bots are going to be to an extent, which is nice.
Yeah, and in a game like this, like somebody might have purchased this game wanting to play a single player JRPG. They did that, then they find out that there's this whole end game thing, and now they're like, I don't really want to play with people. Like you don't have to. Yep. So yeah, it's cool.
And you can set up the bots to a point where you can technically AFK farm stuff. I don't, that depends on how much you want to play the game. That's up to the individual. Yeah, so I like the way it plays. I like the way it looks. The music is okay. I don't remember it too well, so that's not a good or bad thing, I'd say. The story is fine. A little on the simple side, but that it doesn't have to. Not every game needs to have like a crazy complicated story. So it was enough to push you forward and put you into one of my favorite parts of the game: huge, massive set pieces. They're so awesome. I like some of the boss fights are just, even if they're not hard, they're just fun.
They're way bigger than I expected from a game like this. I thought they were just trying to get me through the campaign to get to the multiplayer, which they are. But the campaign doesn't feel like it's wasting your time either, because you get to see these huge set pieces and bosses and stuff that have like unique mechanics, or even a simple thing where you're on an airship and now you're shooting things out of the air when you should just be, like most JRPGs, running around and fighting things.
With an incentive to use them, because if you like kill like 60 enemies with one, you get a check mark for a side objective. You get bonus loot.
Yeah, so there's definitely some things they didn't have to do that they did. And I appreciated that.
And another mode they have, speaking of like bonus loot and stuff like that, elementals will spawn occasionally, and after you defeat them, they drop their cores, and you can throw those like grenades basically. And it'll be like, get 10 kills with throwing weapons and stuff like that. So
which comes in handy when you're doing like the end game multiplayer with friends. Is like you see these side missions and you try to like coordinate with your friends to make sure you get those knocked out.
Get as much rewards as possible. Yeah. Also, the game is fully voice acted, which is great. Though something I'm learning as I'm getting older is like playing an action game in Japanese where the subtitles are really small at the bottom. Kind of hard sometimes. I ran into this with Star Ocean. I can't remember which Star Ocean was. It was the most recent one. I had them, had it in Japanese because that's my preferred, that's the country it came from. That's the way I want to play it, type of thing. But they talk during combat, and I would be missing parts of it. This game has the same thing.
Yeah.
They talk during combat and like lore stuff, and I'm just like, so I would just stop fighting and I just read and let the NPCs fight while I was going through, which is
it's one of the only reasons I will choose English over like Japanese in a game. It's just because those scenarios, as much as I'll prefer the Japanese voice acting, it's hard to follow in the middle of combat when they're talking like that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and then going back to the set pieces thing, there's multiple different ones, especially as you go through the story. All these, without spoiling too much of it, objectives you're going to because you're trying to, catch up with these people. I'll just say that. It's interesting because sometimes part of the fight will be this massive thing, and then because that other party is still involved, it'll turn into something else as well. I know there is a fight later on where you're fighting like a giant golem, and then right as soon as it's done, you're just thrown into another boss fight like instantly with, is it 2 people? Maybe it's just one. It's the little sword chick or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was also the big dude, but I could be wrong on that. And it's just neat because like it kind of adds to that story part, but it also kind of changed it up a little bit because I wasn't just fighting a boss and moving to the next chapter. I fought a boss and it's like, well, next boss, and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go again. Yeah, what else can I add? The mechanical part of the game, like the skill trees and stuff like that, is fun. It's not like super complex. It is very linear. However, you do get to pick as you go. So if like for this level, you want to kind of focus more on like attack or chain link, increase, you can pick that depending on how many points you have. Ultimately, you will have all of them, but there's an illusion of choice at least, which is enough to stimulate the brain sometimes.
Yeah, the skill trees and the weapon upgrades are not necessarily exciting, but you need to do them to get the stats to be able to go against the harder things, which is the exciting part. Luckily on the skill tree there will be some abilities you unlock, which is exciting, but for the most part you're just kind of increasing your stats either in attack, defense, or what's the third one? Oh, it's just your weapon has
Yeah, and then the fourth one's like over leveling.
yeah. And so I'm not complaining. I'd prefer they have that than not, but they're not like exciting skill trees, but you want to go through them. It's like, that's why I kind of brought up mobile games earlier. It kind of reminds me of like this tower defense game I play, and it's kind of an idle game, but like you constantly are just increasing your stats to get further and further, and it's not gratifying in the sense of like my strategy or whatever, but it is gratifying like, okay, I finally beat that, now I can go on to wave 11 or wave 12 or whatever. This kind of feels like that too, where I'm just like, okay, this boss is kind of hard, we grinded a little bit, we got through the skill trees a little bit, we got our weapons upgraded, now we can beat this boss and get to the next one. So it's got that like monkey brain number go up thing going on.
Yeah, I agree. In the skill trees, the mastery points, for sure. Now, the part where it does allow you to play a little bit is weapons have substats that you do get a choice in which one you want. And you can also imbue them with stats as well, which is your choice. And then there's also sigils, which is completely your choice as well for substats. So there is an option there. It's just not in the tree, which is it's kind of funny because the tree, you have the illusion of choice, and then over here with your equipables, it is choice.
Yeah, with the tree, even though it does have branches that you can go way down the tree, and if you have enough points, hit the button, and it'll just fill it for you.
Thank you, by the way.
But I don't know if I would prefer it to be my choice or just as I'm leveling, it tells me, oh, you hit this, you hit this, you hit this. Because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. You're just involved.
Yeah. So, yeah, not a complaint, just an observation, really.
Yeah.
I don't care either way, really. But it's just kind of an interesting thing. It's what it feels like. It feels like I'm manually doing what the game probably would just do by me leveling anyway. But you're right. I don't want to make it sound like there is no choices with the sigils and stuff. There is some stuff you can kind of spec your character into certain things over other things. So
yeah, and you have to find the sigils. So it's not like you're just given them. So the game, especially in the end game, the huge focus is hitting max level, obviously, but then getting the resources you need and the equipables you need to fine tune your build. And that includes like finding the sigils you want, getting the materials to level up the sigils, getting the materials to build a weapon, level the weapon. There's just a lot of little things. They give you a lot of busy work to do, which for me is great because I like grinding out stuff. It may not be everyone's cup of tea. You don't have to min-max it all. Once you beat the story, you can just be done. It's fine.
I think it would bother me, but one thing we haven't really talked about too much, we don't have to jump there just yet, but to mention it, a lot of the bosses are mechanic heavy, and so the boss fights are fun. And so if the boss fights were like really simple, like an MMO, like old MMOs, I know newer MMOs have mechanics, but like if you're just like standing there, just like wearing the dude out, I don't know if the progression would be as exciting or as rewarding, but because the combat is actually fun to play, like I don't mind so much about like how some of the progression goes because I like the fighting. So
I mean, that's the only thing that kept Dynasty Warriors alive for me was I enjoyed just murdering mass amounts of people. So
yeah, because otherwise if it was too simple and then the progression was too simple, it would burn me out pretty quick. So
yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to add. If I had any complaints about the game, I would have liked to see maybe an additional hub because there's only 2.
Yeah, it's weird. Why even have 2?
Which is a little sad. Yeah. And then I don't know enough about Granblue, so maybe I'm just speaking. I'm speaking very much out of ignorance here, but I don't know if there's plans to make more of this. Because I would like to see more, but I think it's done. So,
yeah, hopefully they would make a sequel or just support the game because the game is like ready to be supported in the format that it has. You could add like new difficulty tiers, new boss fights, new weapons, sigils, stuff like that. Like it would be really easy to,
add on to. I think it's a super fun game, but like even like. I hit level 82 last night, and finding people to play multiplayer with is like impossible.
Yeah, even earlier
It's a
on when I
pretty
played
dead
this.
game in that regard.
Yeah. But games like this, too, a lot of people are probably playing with their friends as well.
Well, and
but,
it has bot support, so like
Yeah.
you don't have to do like why would you if you've leveled up your bots so much that like they just kill everything for you, like
Yeah.
and that is a downside to that system.
That's
But
fair.
that was a little weird because I was just like, oh, this would probably be faster if I just like queue up with randoms to do this, and I just couldn't. So that was a little bit of a bummer. So I play it by myself basically, and then I do have the option obviously to play multiplayer with people if I hit them up with people I know, which is good. I don't know. I enjoyed the game. It fell a little short. I would like to see more in the future, though I don't know if there is more, including like from the source material that it comes from, or if they even just have plans to expand this game in general. So, but yeah, overall, I enjoy it quite a bit. I have very little to complain about it. It is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, pretty much agree with everything you said. Things I'll add to that is I like the overall format of the game. I like games that are similar to Monster Hunter, and I like hub-based games and Deep Rock Galactic, Monster Hunter, stuff like that, where you're just like you go on missions. This is the same format. This is my cup of tea. I think the game has a really good variety of characters to unlock that all play completely different. So that's cool. You could get one guy maxed out and maybe want to start working on somebody else. So that's pretty cool. Also, characters you're not going to be interested in, but if you're playing by yourself, you can just have them level with the AI, or when you play with friends, they can prioritize those characters if you need like a healer or something like that. So that's pretty cool. I would have liked to see a little bit more from the progression. It's there. You're leveling, you're increasing your stats, and the sigils and weapons do have some choice. I would like to see a little deeper of choice there, but it's fine. It doesn't even bother me. It's just this whole game just feels like potential. There's so much potential here. They've already built it. And I'm just like, I just want a little bit more from certain things. But other things that you really don't need more from is I think they did a really good job in the campaign. The story is simple, but I kind of liked that because I was just like trying to get to the multiplayer anyway. But I didn't feel like I wasted my time with the campaign because every single chapter had some kind of big boss fight or set piece that was worth seeing. I've played other JRPGs that aren't even trying to just get you to the multiplayer, put less work into their set pieces and stuff. So I was pretty surprised by that, and I didn't, like I said, feel like I was wasting my time through the campaign. Also, there's like things to find in every chapter that you can replay those chapters to get. So for you like collectible nerds out there, like trying to get every single thing, this game is keeping track of that, so you can go do that. And then, yeah, the multiplayer component I think is a really good idea. I would like to see more games do this in the JRPG sphere. Just because it's kind of neat to, a lot of times when you're playing JRPG, you're just by yourself, and they're fun. You never want to leave, but being able to share a lot of that experience basically with other people is pretty cool. Like most of the fights, if not all of them, all the boss fights in the game, you can do in the multiplayer. It also has its own alternate missions, like that one where we had to like slide around in the sand and collect all the things.
Treasure hunt.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of cool things to do there that you get to share the experience with your friends. So that's neat. Also, playing through a campaign, leveling your characters, and doing what you're doing, and then finally playing with your friends who also they had to do the same thing to get where you're at. It's kind of neat because you see what characters they leveled, what characters they're playing as opposed to what you're playing, and you can get some interesting team comps there. So yeah, I really like that. I really like the system a lot. I would like to see it supported or a sequel, just because I think there's a lot of potential with what they did with this game, and I think it's solid. There's the spoiler of what I think of this game. I think the game's fucking solid, like across the board. But there's things I just feel like that can make the game even better, which is good. You want a game with room to grow, and I would like to see that. But yeah, I really like the format. When it came to the characters I played, I liked a lot of the more faster characters, dual-wielding types. I used the little short dude as like a dual-wielding samurai guy, even though
mustache.
the English voice actor is terrible. I liked I think is his name Lancelot? He's like a blue guy who uses ice dual-wielding. I really liked him. Maybe I got the names mixed up, but it is the blue guy that I'm talking about that uses ice. And then there's a fire dude who uses like a great sword that I really liked as well.
Percival, I think.
I think so. There's also ranged characters. There's people who use guns, which I think is really neat because, again, if you're playing a game with your friends, It offers a lot of different avenues of play. Maybe very much like Monster Hunter, you don't have to be up in the shit. You can be a caster. You can shoot stuff. You can heal. You can be a dude up in the front and be like a tank. You can be like a DPS. Like there's a lot of variety in character types you can play, and I really like that as well. And we played with Psycho one night, and that was actually really fun. Like I would like to do that again. It'd be cool to get a fourth person because I was really enjoying doing those boss fights, even though we were knocking out a lot of the early ones that were overpowered for. Because in my brain, I'm like, I don't want those incomplete.
I was say even right now, like most of the very hards are suggested like power level like 3,000, and I'm like getting close to 5,000. So
yeah. But finally we got to some bosses that like had a little bit of like we didn't just wreck them, which was nice.
Or 6,000.
So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I like the art style. Story's fine. Music's decent. I think the combat system is good. I like that all the characters do play differently. They have different mechanics too. So that's
the chain link system is really cool. Yeah.
Hence Relink. Yeah, there's a link system where when you're fighting, you can link up with other people and do combined attacks. Is that how you would?
Yeah, I mean they're basically limit breaks.
Yeah.
And then if you do 2 or 3 or 4 of them together, you get a chain bonus. If you do 4, you get an additional attack.
I thought you were talking about the when you hit B, if you're playing with the controller. You'll be fighting, and then it says link or whatever, and then you hit the button, and you and somebody else will attack at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that helps charge it, but no, I was talking about the chain attack.
Which I think is a really cool system. You just got to kind of keep track of that, do that, and attack with people, do more damage, and build that up. But then, at the very end, you have your limit breaks, and that is a neat system, especially for multiplayer. The fucking NPCs will just do it. And I'm like, oh shit, are we doing this? Okay. Or if I do it, they're like, yup, and they'll start doing it. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, you essentially do your limit break, and then there's a timer, and people need to be doing that as well within that time. And so you want to make sure everybody's limit breaks are kind of built up at the same time. Luckily, the game's very generous that if you're even at like 70 out of 100 on your meter, once people start using their limit breaks, you get like a bonus to your build. So like you start just boom, 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 getting your bar up, and then you can get yours out too. But if all 4 of you do it, you get this massive end chunk of damage, and it's very satisfying.
The bosses also get those though.
Yeah,
they just don't chain with people.
Yeah. So is that when they're enraged? Yeah.
When they do their ultimate move, basically.
Yeah. So that's cool. There's a decent variety of mission types and bosses as well. I don't know if I've played all of them or not, but
we definitely have not.
What I've played has been really cool. I would like to play more of it to see, the harder difficulties. I think that's where it'll get even better. But yeah, multiplayer, JRPG, leveling, different characters to unlock. There's like 4 or 5 characters that are like extra special that I don't think any of us have gotten yet. So that's something worth working towards. And overall, I think it's a super solid game. And I'll probably keep playing it. So I liked it.
I mean, I did last night. So I was like, I don't know what to do. Oh, we'll just go play that.
I was gonna say you should have hit me up, but I was playing Core Keeper.
Yeah. You were busy. I think other people were asleep, and I was just like, "What can I play by myself?"
If you're gonna hop on, let me know. I would definitely. I want to play that more. So.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Let's jump into recommendations. If you like action JRPGs, I think it's an easy recommendation. I think you'll feel right at home with this game. If you're a Granblue fan, I'm sure you played it. I don't even know what Granblue fans are because there's every kind of game that Granblue is, I guess. So I've played like 3 of them now.
At this point, yeah,
it's really weird. But they're always kind of solid. So apparently they care about their brand enough to not make shit games. If you like cinematic RPGs, I think you'll enjoy this as a campaign. It's short, sweet, and it does its job with cool set pieces. Yeah, it's very manageable for someone like me who's hopping games a lot. I'm like, I can beat that, no problem. Yeah. Unless I get really sucked into a JRPG, then I want the 120-hour experience. But this game, I wasn't feeling that, and luckily it respected my time because I wanted the multiplayer. True. It gets you there. If you like multiplayer RPGs, it's kind of a rare thing, but I would recommend to you. If you like Monster Hunter without the combat of Monster Hunter, but basically boss runs where you're working with people with different abilities and stuff. I think you'll appreciate this game, even if you're just like a diehard Monster Hunter fan. I think you'll find something. I think you'll find something here that you'll like.
It's not nearly as hard, but yeah.
No, but it's definitely it's so inspired by it. So I think you'll enjoy that as well. You got anything? Oh, if you like games where you're like unlocking new shit constantly, this game is just boom, boom, always unlocking stuff when it comes to characters, your skill tree that goes on forever. There's just always something that you're just going like, oh, that just got better. Oh, that just got better.
I mean, you already said it, but the single player like JRPG thing, I mean, I would just emphasize, even though like there's a bunch of multiplayer option stuff in it, it is all soloable. You never have to play with anyone if you don't want to. And then if you do happen to want to play co-op with someone, that option is available to you. So it's a pretty big win in my opinion. I would actually
it's huge,
love to see, I don't want every JRPG to be this because they would get old really quick, but I would love to see other people even just make a single player game that has after you beat the game, multiplayer component like this. So because multiplayer during the campaign is like almost useless.
I think it would have been fine to play multiplayer through the campaign.
I mean, optionally, yeah, but I'm just saying in the regards of like, people who might want to just play like through a story and then not miss out because it's multiplayer and they don't want to play that. So I don't know. I think they hit a pretty good balance with this game. So
yeah, just when you get to that multiplayer, you're like, I have to play like you don't have to play the campaign, but you only have so much things you can do in the multiplayer until you beat the campaign.
It's basically just training for when multiplayer does happen.
Yeah, so you do want to just get through the campaign. So it would have been cool to be able to co-op that as an option, but I'm not going to dock it for that. I mean, the game's got plenty of multiplayer. So
yeah. Other than that, if you're into anime style games,
sure,
I'd just throw that out there loosely. So.
And some weird flying fat dragon thing. I don't know what that thing is. It's got a weird name, and I hate the English voice.
He's a little dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some fucking simple name. I forgot that.
Vern.
Vern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
All right. So yeah, if I was gonna say I want more multiplayer JRPGs. I love like JRPGs, but like I don't think there's enough like multiplayer experiences.
That's why I play Final Fantasy 14.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. Just like I always think back to like every once in a while there's like a co-op JRPG, and I'm like, those are fucking cool, dude. Like, why the hell don't we have any more of those?
Yeah.
So this game, scratches that itch a little bit.
True.
Yeah. So that's our recommendations. Let's jump into grades. Am I grading first?
Yep.
Man, I'm gonna grade this grade, but there is room for it to go up because I'm only at very hard in the multiplayer, and if the game gets better at all, it might edge it over. I'm gonna give it a strong B+. I really like this game. I think it's really fucking solid. I don't think it has a whole lot of weaknesses, honestly. I just don't think it has anything that's like, I think the whole experience is a strong experience. I just don't think the individual components of it are super strong. Outside of that, I think the boss fights are really good. I think the set pieces were done exceptional. I think they're much better than a lot of other JRPGs, surprisingly. Except for Final Fantasy, don't compare the two. But other normal JRPGs. But what it does, I think it does really well, and I really like the idea, and I think it fucking appeals to a lot of people. And a lot of the different things I like has a lot of those in one game. It has a single player JRPG that's fun to play. It's got multiplayer. I mean, I'm fucking sign me up. You make a game like that, I'll want to play it. They made it. I'm satisfied with it. So easy, strong B+. If I play the multiplayer and get really hooked on it even further, or something unlocks in it that I'm like, oh shit, there's even more depth here, I could easily see it slightly tilting into a soft A- for sure. Just because I think the idea is awesome. I just want more from it. So B+.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think a strong B+ is where I'm sitting as well. I almost said A-, but and I can't even put my finger on it, but I feel like something's missing.
Yeah,
and I don't know what it is because I'm like, I like playing it.
I mean, if the story was amazing.
Well, I don't even think it's bad. I think it was good.
Sure,
right?
But if it had like a great story, I probably would have
pushed it over. But I mean, even just like there's something mechanically missing from it for me that I can't put my finger on at all. But but it's like right there. It's so close. And I think a large part of it too is because I do kind of and I try not to do it too hard because they're not that similar, but I do kind of compare it to Monster Hunter.
Yep.
And Monster Hunter, it's just a more in depth. Like I can crack out on Monster Hunter, like, and lose my life to it. This game I can shut off when I'm getting tired.
Well, this doesn't have the dynamic and visceral combat experience that Monster Hunter has, where you get those big hits and every fight feels different, even if it's the same monster, because something happened this time that didn't happen last time. This game doesn't have that factor. It also doesn't have the same factor of like, I just crafted this weapon I've been busting my ass to finally get, and now I get to finally try it out. This game, it's like, I got the better sword now. I get to upgrade it. I added some stats here and there, but it's not like a big new crazy weapon that's like super exciting. It doesn't have that excitement factor. So I think that's probably the one thing that.
Well, I think being able to play to weaknesses a lot too kind of helps in Monster Hunter. And this game has elements. I just don't know how much they actually matter.
I don't think about it.
Versus
just go crazy.
In Monster Hunter, if they're weak to ice, I will try to bring an ice weapon. So
well, you kind of have to. That Monster Hunter can be very challenging.
Yeah, or bring a status
like very
weapon.
challenging. So.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a great game, and I'm not done with it. So
yeah, same. All right. Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Granblue Fantasy Relink. If you haven't played it, why haven't you played it? Have we convinced you to check it out? And if you have played it, what do you think of it? What are some features in the game that you enjoy? What's your favorite parts of the game? What do you think about the campaign? How do you think? What do you think about how they handled the multiplayer? Anything you'd like to see them do to improve the game? Do you have any info or things that you would want in terms of like a sequel or support for the game? We don't know anything about that.
Completely ignorant.
So whether it's just something you'd like to see them do or they're going to do, let us know in the comments. I'd appreciate that. And what were the characters you enjoyed playing the most? And do you know any other games like this? Let me know, because I need to know. And yeah, tell me everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Granblue Fantasy Relink.
Also, what game do you want to play next month?
Yeah, put that in the comments. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Game of the Month. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me, Shelly, for this conversation. Thank you guys for joining us for this whole conversation. And until the next episode, which will finally be a tasty cast, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.